Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey, welcome to New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and we're going to be taking calls for 2 hours on this Wednesday, May 7th. So call in right now. The earlier you call in, the better of a chance you'll get on. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. And here to answer your questions today, we've got clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton and Doctor of Marriage and Family Therapy, Sheri Keffer. What's up, docs?
Hey. Well, you know what? It's so funny. I came in today and we were getting ready to go on and I'm like, I can't hear anything. What's going on? And Brian's like, your volume might be turned down. And I was like, oh, that's it. Just a simple little fix. And this is the truth. Sometimes there's just a simple little fix that you can do in your life to make a big change, right? And so I want to talk about lying. I want to talk about lying and what to do with lying. If you think someone's lying to you, or maybe if you're lying to somebody else, why is lying even a part of our lives? I think lying's a part of our lives because we don't want to take responsibility for something that we've done. That's the first thing. And two, we're trying to avoid conflict by not just letting somebody know what's true, what's real, what's gone on. I mean, I've had situations, and you guys can probably relate to this, where somebody lies about stopping and getting a Coca-Cola on the way home. Like they will tell their spouse, oh, I was running late from work, or my boss gave me, but they just didn't want to share that they had stopped to get Coke. And some of us have grown up in homes where it wasn't safe to really share what was going on, where the truth, like there's, alcoholic homes or abusive homes where, we have avoided conflict by just learning how to lie. So let me talk about the different types of lies. So there's a lie of omission. What is that? A lie of omission means that you have something going on in your life and you're not exposing it. But it would be something that would cause a disruption in your relationship with your significant other. If they were to find out about it, it might even break a vow, that lie of omission. And you might say to yourself, well, I'm not really lying. I just didn't say anything about it. So that's another form of lying. What is that? That's called self-deception. Self-deception is when you lie to yourself. What's really interesting is that one of the names of Satan, our enemy, is the father of lies. And so I often see how the father of lies will just latch on to our relationships in order to bring more chaos, in order to keep things hidden in the dark, sins, things that would harm other people. I see his fingerprints all over the dirty work. And that doesn't make somebody not responsible. It's not like you can say the devil made me do it. But I'll tell you, the devil's in the details. And the devil is in the details of what happens with lying. So whether you're lying and it's self-deception, you're lying to yourself and others, right, ultimately, or whether it's a lie of omission. And then there could just be a flat out lie. Somebody looks at you and says something, and then you say, no, I didn't do that. Or gaslighting, which is somebody looks at you, says something, and then they make it your problem. They twist the truth in order to make you feel wrong and bad about who you are and hide what's happening over there. So lying's hurt. And I just thought it would be a good idea to talk about it today. And the what's, the whys, and, maybe we can touch base when we get back on the how and what you can do about it, if you'll let me have a few more minutes.
Yes, definitely. So if you've been lied to or lied about, or maybe you're the liar, you've got an issue with that, we can help you today on New Life Live. We're going to be here for 2 hours at 1-800-229-3000.
I was stuck. I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. We wouldn't lie and give you the wrong number. We want to make sure you call in. 1-800-229-3000. Sheri Keffer and Alice Benton are here to talk to you about whatever it is you're going through. Mother's Day is coming up. Maybe you'd like to talk about some family issues. Maybe you're estranged from your kids, or maybe you're an adult and your mom passed away recently and you haven't gotten over, you still have a lot of grief and everything. That's going to stay with you for a long time, and we would love to talk to you about it here on New Life Live at 1-800-229-3000. But let's continue talking about lying for a few more minutes. That was a great opening topic there, Sheri.
Yeah. Well, and then you might say, well, what do I do if somebody is gaslighting me or I feel like they're lying to me? I will look up the verse in a second, but I know one of the names of God is Jehovah Elameth. And Jehovah Elameth means the Lord God of all truth. And I think it's in the Psalms, but I'll look it up. And it says, though everyone else is a liar, God is saying about himself, though everyone else is a liar, I'm not. So I love that God loves the truth. One of the ways that you can hold on to your sanity and truth would be to keep it in a private note section of your phone, somewhere where your kids can't find it, the one who's deceiving you can't find it, and just make sure your kids can't find it. And I'm sure, Alice, you'll agree with this, because so often kids use our phones for, schoolwork or to look something up, and you don't want them to find this. But in your note section, begin to write down what you saw, what you observed, like the facts, because it can get very confusing when somebody's holding on to their lie, and you can really almost lose track of what you remember to be true. Mm-hmm. It's very disorientating. Another thing you can do is when someone's gaslighting you, telling you something's about you, you can say a phrase like this. You can say, that's interesting. That's not how I remember it. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. That's not how I remember it. You don't have to be adversarial. You don't have to yell and scream. You can just hold your strength within your core and say that. You could also say, looks like we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. That's another way. And then the scripture can be really grounding. And Alice, I just wanted to see if you had any ideas while I'm looking this up. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're describing non-combative responses that, rather than escalating the argument, have such a likelihood of diffusing the situation. A soft word turns away wrath. And so to just give that's not how I remember it, it really stops an argument in its tracks. Sheri, you were talking about an easy fix. And I think it's pretty shocking how much truth and confession are the easier, much more effective fix. Emotionally, it's very difficult for those of us who struggle with lying to make our confessions because we're so afraid of the response we'll get. But when we start to confess, if we have decent people around us, they will likely receive our confession and actually begin to believe us as we admit to these things we're so afraid to tell them. I learned from you, Sheri, how much disclosure versus discovery. If there's been an infidelity, for example, when the perpetrator discloses it rather than it being discovered by the victim's spouse, it ushers in a level of healing.
It sure does. It sure does, because it's ownership, right? It's a way of taking responsibility. I want to read this verse. So it's Romans 3:3-4. It says, true, some of them were unfaithful, but just because they were unfaithful, does that mean that God will be unfaithful? Of course not. Even if everyone else is a liar, God is true. And so it's just, I just want to say there's a beauty to truth. And even though people are scared, when I work with those that have infidelity, they're scared out of their mind to come clean because they think they're going to, their belief is I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose the one I love. I'm going to lose my reputation. And those are a lot of reasons that people say, I'm just going to take it to the grave. But that stuff just eats away at you. It begins to erode you from the inside. And that's why Jesus says, confess your sins to one another and pray so you can have healing. So a lot of good truths. And I know we have calls to take, but thank you for letting me
just one quick comment I want to make, or a question I want to ask about gaslighting. What is it in our mind? What is it in our psyche that makes us, when somebody lies about us or, like you say, turns the tables to make it seem like we're the ones at fault? Why is it that all of a sudden our minds start thinking, oh, maybe that is how it happened? Why did we start doubting ourselves when it was our lived experience? Why is it that now what this other person tells us, all of a sudden you're just confused?
Well, because they may share one little sliver.
Okay.
Like, you've not been feeling well. Like, this is really your issue. Or, they might add a little tiny bit of truth, but like 99.9% of it is a lie. But what happens with gaslighting, it's usually not one time. Gaslighting is a pattern where someone strategically twists the truth to make you believe something's wrong with you or you're crazy in order to cover up what they're doing over here. So that eroding, it's kind of like the Grand Canyon. When the Grand Canyon first started, it might have just been a little trickle, just a little tiny river that a leaf went down. But now it's huge. And that's what happens with gaslighting. It begins to erode the sense of who you are, and you are spun out. When someone comes in and they've been gaslit, there's almost a hollow sense to them when they come in because their reality has been so broken and their intuition is compromised. So my goal is to help them get back into truth of what is reality. Yeah. So
1-800-229-3000 is our number, and let's go to Linda, who's listening to us on WFIL in Philadelphia. Welcome to the program.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I'm calling because I'm concerned about my almost 16-year-old grandson, because he's not really, he's not relating to any males right now. His dad's not really in touch with him much, but his older brother he is. Doesn't really relate to his dad right now. And then he also doesn't have his friends at, his school's friends are not males either. So he doesn't have any, good, solid relationships. So
no good male role models?
Right, yes.
Okay.
So, and then that's... but the issue right now is my daughter, his mother is interested in somebody that Matt does not like. So now, since he doesn't like...
interested in a romantic relationship?
Right, yes.
Okay. But your grandson doesn't like this guy?
Right, yes.
Okay.
So it's been causing a disruption because he's not happy about the whole matter. But then the guy that he doesn't like, he has good reason not to like, because he has, issues that he has to deal with. And my daughter doesn't.
Does she not see it? Does she not
She
care?
thinks she cares and thinks that he can get the right assistance to get help.
Okay.
To deal with it differently.
So what's your main question for us today?
I just want to know for my part, because I want to be there, and it's a little bit disruption, because he gets angry, and I do correct him, and he does have Christian standards, so his anger, he says he needs counseling, so he needs the right counselor, and I don't know how that's going to come about. I would like to encourage my daughter.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to her about it, and we don't talk very easily. So
Okay.
the main thing is better communication and my part.
Alice, what would you say to Linda?
Linda, what a heart you have for your family. And that there's enough safety for this grandson to say, I need counseling. That's just incredibly hopeful that he's open to it and that message has come to you, maybe even directly from him. And it actually sounds like his distance from some of these males, he might have an accurate radar. He sees red flags and you agree with them, and he's distancing himself from these men. Now, of course, you're concerned because I think you're implying that male relationships are so important to his own development, becoming a man. And so you're worried about that. Would you tell us, Linda, is your husband in the picture, and is he active in your grandson's life?
No, my husband is not my husband now. He remarried, and then his wife just died. Oh. But anyway, it leaves his grandfather hasn't been really active in his life either, which no reason. He could still do he's there. He knows it's his grandpop, but he doesn't do any of the things that he could assist Matt with in his life growing, because he needs, assistance in growing. Young people do.
Yeah.
But this has been generational, that you all have suffered, I think, from the absence of the men in your family. This has been tough on all of you. I think you're right to question your role and wonder what you can do. And facilitating him getting therapy is certainly a great answer. And even perhaps if you have the finances to be willing to financially support that taking place. That we have some men's groups and men's weekends at New Life that I think he'll have to be a little bit older for it, but I want you to keep it on the radar because it is such a good place for him to get into community with other men who are striving to be Christians, and it's almost impossible to do without other strong Christian men around you and around him. I'd also have you invite him to talk about his anger with you. I think you're right to correct it because he shouldn't mistreat you in his anger, but to acknowledge we've all suffered because the dads in the family are not as active as they should be. They're not around. It angers me. Does it anger you? And to be willing to listen to him and draw out his anger in a productive way versus him lashing out at you, it might acknowledge the truth of what this entire family has been suffering, and that would be helpful for your grandson.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Sheri?
Anger's a very interesting emotion. I think it scares a lot of us because we don't know what to do with it, and it's so potent. But do you know that anger is actually a secondary emotion? It's not primary. What's underneath anger is actually hurt, fear, or sadness. It's one of those three things, or it's a combination. Now, if I was to ask you right now what your precious grandson, what you think he's feeling from those categories, hurt, fear, sadness, or a combination, what do you think he's feeling right now?
I think he's feeling hurt.
Yeah. Hurt that he's not being heard.
Yeah.
No one's hearing him.
Right.
No one's hearing him. And kind of like Alice just said, I suggest instead of correcting his anger, you might even take what you learned today and just validate it. Say, I get why you're mad. And then don't tell him you learned it here. You got it free because you listened to New Life, But I want you to say, what I just discovered about anger is that it's like the hard candy shell on an M&M. It's like what we do to protect ourselves, but actually there's some soft, more tender feelings on the inside. And the chocolate that melts in your hand, the stuff that's more vulnerable, is hurt, fear, and sadness. And I'm wondering if you're feeling hurt, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling afraid right now. Do you see how you just flipped the script?
Yeah.
Now you're walking in. That's a very practical tool that you can do with him when you see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be good, because I'm trying to make sure the communication's good, and hasn't been where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying. I'll let him know that I'm there.
Good.
After
Well,
the blow up, I did.
yeah.
Let him know. You got to get your heart right, and that
Well,
I love you.
Right, but getting his heart right is fixing him. Don't fix him. Don't correct him. Let his anger guide you into the softer underbelly of his pain that's under the anger. It's a big shift. I want you to think about that.
How We Love Our Kids, do you think might be a good resource?
Amazing resource.
Okay, we'll send that off to you. Thank you for calling in today, and we're going to get to more calls in just a little bit. Angie and Laura, you're coming up.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do, because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
When you financially support New Life, right now we're in the middle of a matching gift. So when you give hope, you get it matched and you help more people. It's great. Here's a letter that we got from Tina. While my contribution will not be significant compared to most, I want to let you know that I believe that New Life saved my marriage, subsequently keeping the lives of our children and grandchildren from being altered forever. How do I put a price on all of this? I can't. I can only contribute in my own small way and continue to pray that New Life will thrive and that the ministry's motivation will always be for the glory of God and for people as lost and alone as my husband and I were. So that's just amazing. And right now, every gift you give will be doubled up to $500,000. We're trying to reach that goal by the end of this month. We're more than halfway there, so I know we can do it. 3 ways for you to give. Call 1-800-229-3000. No, that's the number to call into the radio program. I'm sorry. 1-800-NEW-LIFE is the number to call to make a contribution. Or go to newlife.com or text the word match to 28950. But we love hearing stories like this. We often hear about generational curses. And, here's one example of a curse that was stopped in its tracks because of the help that we gave to this couple. And it wound up influencing in a good way their kids and their grandkids.
We also have a God of multiplication. So when she says, my contribution was so small, Many small contributions multiply, accumulate, and it helps us. And so your contribution, no matter how small it was, we need it, we're grateful for it, and God will multiply it.
Yes, he will. So again, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com or text the word match to 28950. And now let's talk to Angie in Dallas, listening on KWRD. Thank you, Angie, for calling 1-800-229-3000.
Yes, hello there. Thank you for taking my call and question.
Course.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I lost my mom recently, and so I'm going through the grieving process, and this will be the first Mother's Day that I won't have her. And I guess my thought is, it's been heavy on my heart and mind, and my tendency is to isolate, and I just feel like I just want to be by myself that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my thing is, what suggestions do y'all have?
Do you have brothers and sisters who are also experiencing this?
I do have a brother, but we really don't talk.
Okay.
Angie, we hear that it's painful to even ask this question. Your mother's passing feels so recent. It hasn't even been an entire year yet. And it's understandable that you just want to isolate. Would you tell us just a little, what was relationship like with your mom? And then how did you lose her?
It was, we had a good relationship. We talked every day on the phone. And we were very close. And I lost her to cancer.
Oh, so sorry.
Thank you.
So sorry.
Angie, were you part of caring for her as she struggled with cancer? Mm-hmm. Did you even move in with her, give direct care that way?
I did not move in with her, but I was between me and some other family members. We were there almost every day about the last 6 weeks. And we knew because she was on hospice, we knew, that it was the end.
Such a big loss. You know why, Angie? Because you guys were so deeply attached.
Yes.
I mean,
exactly.
Having a conversation with your mom every day. A lot of us don't even talk to our friends every day, right? I mean, we might talk once or twice or however often, but you guys were so deeply attached that probably feels like you've lost a limb,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Your heart is just so deeply grieving. And, sometimes even we can feel alone in that because you might find that other people don't understand the magnitude of the loss. They might say trite and simple things like, well, she was a good woman, or she lived a good life, or, you'll make it
They try to
through
be helpful, right? Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten some of those phrases?
Yes, and they're trying to be helpful, but it's just a thing that you have to go through, like on your own. Or what God has been good and He's helped me through, but it's just every day is a different set of challenges, I guess.
Oh, of course. I when I think about losses in my life, and I'm thinking about your mom, it's strange how a grief group, it's almost counterintuitive to think about going to a grief group with a bunch of other people that have had losses. But you know what it actually does? It helps you exhale. It helps you feel validated in the details. Because you know what? Your loss actually causes people to feel their feelings about loss, and then we walk away from having a deeper conversation about it. So you miss the goods.
Right.
I would encourage you, if you choose to be alone, I want you to go to the store. I want you to go to the Hallmark card section, and I want you to find your mom a Mother's Day card.
Oh, man.
And I want you to write her a letter. I want you to tell her how much you love her, how much you loved all your conversations, what's unique about her, and I want you to grieve. I just wanted
Good
you
idea.
to let the tears flow, girl, because she is worthy of those tears.
Exactly.
Angie, stay on the phone. We've got to do our break now, but we'll be back and we'll continue talking to you here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000.
Early on, looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Denver, Colorado, June 6th through the 8th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Don't forget, we're taking calls for 2 hours today, so call in. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. We would love to talk to you. Dr. Alice Benton and Dr. Sheri Keffer are here at 1-800-229-3000. And right before the break, we were talking to Angie in Dallas, who called in because this is going to be her first Mother's Day without her mom. And Sheri, you gave a piece of advice. I got this word picture, or this not word picture. I got this image in my head when you said that Angie's going to walk into the Hallmark store this Sunday. She's going to head to the greeting card aisle, which is basically what Hallmark is, and she's the first card she picks up, she's probably just going to start weeping right there in the middle of the store.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, are you ready for that, Angie? I mean, this is going to be, it's going to be tough if you do this.
I'm not ready for that. No one else will be ready for it either.
That's how deep your loss is, girl. That even going to buy a card is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Could you?
I don't know if I can. I really don't know if I can.
That's okay.
It's a good idea.
Well, you know, don't do anything you don't feel open to doing. Can you write your mom a letter from your heart?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
you know, as a kid, we make our own Mother's Day cards, right? We write our words in our heart, and we maybe draw a little, you know, picture of a daisy on it or whatever, and give it to our moms. They put it on they like those the best, actually, the handwritten ones. But your heart is so precious. And I just want you to know, we have another caller that called in while you were sharing. We're going to go to her. Her name is Mary, right? Mm-hmm. And this is what happens at New Life is we have like group therapy happening right now on the line because Mary heard you sharing, and Mary lost her mom too. So,
oh, wow.
I know. Oh, wow. So to my point about considering a grief group so that you don't grieve alone. There's something very different when we grieve and somebody can be a witness to our tears, be a witness to our shaky voice, be a witness to our loss. It takes us further in our grief healing. And so I hope you don't miss out on that. It would be a big step too, but it's grieving with instead of grieving alone.
And Angie, please notice, as you risked sharing with us, it brought this compassion out of Sheri. It brought a protectiveness out of Brian for you.
Are you ready for this?
We draw grace when we open up.
I need it.
Yes, you do. And we don't tend to get it alone. And God seems to use other people more than giving us these things directly. And so by risking to allow other people to know the beautiful story of your mom and your relationship with her, you will receive grace and comfort. They say that when grief is shared, it's halved. It's almost cut in half because the burden is then carried by the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful, Alice. I never heard that. Isn't it beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful and it's disturbing because I don't want anybody to see me cry. And I'm a loner too, Angie. And as you said, you tend to isolate. So I don't like it because I don't want to tell anybody what I'm struggling with. But what I like is the benefit of it because that's God's design. So it works better than my isolating nature.
And you bring a good point. I think we're afraid of the ugly cry. Mm-hmm. Because it's an ugly cry, right? Our eyes get all puffy and red and our nose runs and and we're in anguish.
Yes, Angie.
It's so vulnerable.
I heard once that you, Sheri, hide the Kleenex in your office.
I do.
So
I hide it.
Don't stop themselves from crying.
No, they do. People look for it. They're like, "Do you have Kleenex?" I go, "Yes, I do." But those
you don't get it yet.
Those Kleenex, everyone's the cost of a session. So you're here to get the pain out. So let's maximize your investment here. But it's true. We need to get those pain out and to have it be halved. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. So what can we send her? What's a resource?
Well, we do have the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
We can send you that for sure.
Hey, how about that, girl? We're with you.
Yeah.
We love you. We're going to be praying for you this Mother's Day. And you know what? All our listeners are too, because you've just let us in. You're going to have a lot of prayer.
It's tough. Angie, thanks for calling in today. And I mean, just all these memories you might have of your mom. It could be a song that you hear on the radio, a song that you're hearing at the grocery store, wherever. All of a sudden, there's that song that just reminds you. It's, the song that mom used to play on the record player on repeat, before on repeat was a thing. But it was, it's just those memories.
Your mom's perfume. My mom passed away as well, actually on Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And
my goodness.
I was in a store the other day, and I had a whiff of her perfume, and I found it. It was the right one. And it just brought up such a tenderness for my mom. The song, the smells, the things that we love together with our parents that we've lost.
Yeah. 1-800-229-3000. Look, I found Sheri's hip Kleenex box.
Hey, put that away. Tuck it away, Brian.
Hey, we need it here on the program sometimes too. Okay, let's talk to Marianne, who's calling in from Springfield, Illinois, and then Laura, we want to talk to you as well. Marianne, thanks for calling in today.
Hi.
Hi. What's your question for us?
Well, it was more a comment.
Okay.
I listened to Angie's story, and I was so touched because I experienced the loss of my own mother, and I'm now a mom, a nurse, and a grandma. But I can tell you this: it's more a comment. I'm hoping that Angie can listen to what I'm going to say because I want to help her. I lost my mother in 1993 to cancer. And at the time, my two older children were just little. I didn't have my third child yet. But I will say this. I know why God only gave us one mother, because we couldn't lose them twice.
Oh, wow.
And what she is feeling is totally... there's a word, normal. Especially, I talk to my mom, as Angie did, every day. With working full-time as a nurse and caring for two younger children, I still saw her every day. And all I can tell you is, when God says his plan is perfect, it is. He alone can give us the strength to go through a loss such as your mother, especially if you were close to your mother, as I was, and Angie. It's so new for her. I think she said it's been a year.
Yeah, very new.
And for me, 1993. But it's hard this month. My mother's birthday was May the 4th. And coming up on, Mother's Day, it's very hard.
Yeah.
All I can say is, you never lose that love. You never lose that bond you had with your mom. And, I listen to WPEO all the time in my car. That's out of Peoria, Illinois. It's your radio station. And I talk to my mom, just like, Mom, I miss you. Just say it out loud, Mom, I miss you. And I guess the words of comfort that I have for Angie is that there is a God there who loves her so much and is going to get her through this. I'm not saying, time does heal. The memories are never gone, but time is a comfort. As years go on, it does get better. You miss your mom greatly, but hers is so new. All I can tell her is just to totally rely on the Holy Spirit, to give her the guidance and the grace and the comfort. Crying is a good thing. Grieving is a good thing. And I think I heard her mention that she doesn't talk to her brother.
Yeah.
That's the same with me.
Oh,
so
interesting.
It's very similar.
So many similarities. Marianne, you're doing exactly what would be helpful to Angie. When you said God gives us the strength to get through a loss, I agree with you. And he gives it to us in surprising ways, like you calling in after Angie to strengthen her.
With the similar stories. So many similarities.
God's strength is so often channeled through people.
Yeah.
So thank you for reaching out to show Angie that if she opens up, people can respond to her with love and understanding.
And that she's not alone.
And I have a niece named Angie, so
Man,
very similarities. But I don't know. This recently happened. There was just me and my brother. We both have health issues. I don't know what's happened, but he turned away from me about a year ago. No contact, no nothing. And I believe a lot of it is family dynamics.
Yeah.
The person he's married to, but God can heal that hurt for Angie too, about the, being estranged from her brother. I mean, God knows if God can create the universe, he went to the cross for us. He cares so much about little details of our life. He said, I knew you before I formed you in the womb. He knows
Marianne, we're
so
coming up to
well.
our break, but thank you for calling in today. In fact, we would love to talk to you, if you want to, about this other issue that you're having with your brother. We might be able to assist you with that here on New Life Live, but stay on hold for now.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
New Life believes that everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. If you're interested in learning more about life recovery, a great way is to watch the Life Recovery Today TV program or subscribe to the Life Recovery Today podcast. Episodes of both come out on Tuesdays. Find all the connection details at liferecoverytoday.com. You can also join a life recovery group. There are groups meeting online and in person across the country, or make plans now to join us October 4th for the Choosing Wisdom online conference. We'll give you more details on that as we get closer to the date. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and we're taking calls for a whole nother hour, another whole hour. We're going to start right now with Charlie in Tampa, Florida, listening online. Hi there, Charlie. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in today.
I'm calling. I listened to your station for years, and I was listening to Angie's story, and normally I'll either turn the channel or walk away because whenever a subject comes up about a mom, I'm like, well, I had a horrible mom, in my opinion, and it was very toxic and a lot of anger. But God somehow miraculously got us together 8 years ago, and I took care of her, so to speak, and found out that she had mental illness with drug abuse and a lot of substance abuse, and that's what caused a lot of the dysfunction in the family. I actually forgave her and would visit her, even though she was diagnosed with dementia without Alzheimer's. She passed away 2 years ago. She was able to answer a lot of my questions, and I got to see the old her that I knew all my life, and I got to see from the medical standpoint, wow, she really did suffer from things that I was not aware of or not know. And I forgave her, and I thank God. And I remember in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I would say, hey, if she dies, I wouldn't even bother going to her funeral or anything like that. I was so angry with her. And, of course, when she passed away, she had no one. It was just me. Mm-hmm. And my question is, as I get older, I reflect. I feel guilt, a lot of guilt. Because I did recognize and know that she had issues that our family didn't talk about in the 60s and the 70s. Issues that, she's just being that way. And as I get older, I see a lot of my mom and myself, and that scares me. It scares me. And I forgave her, I really have forgiven her. But there's this heavy burden in my heart that I feel like I failed her as a daughter, and she only had me. She never had any other children but me. And I learned a lot, and God has, provided. I was able to provide for my mom and do a lot of healing. But it just seems like every now and then when a mom conversation, especially Mother's Day coming up, I think about it. I'm like, Ada, you could have been a better You could have been a better daughter. You could have been a better human being. You were nicer to strangers. You were nicer to everybody, but you held this grudge. And yes, I was there for her last 8 years of her life, but I still have a lot of guilt.
Charlie, that sure makes sense because you maybe accused her or held it against her previously, and her behavior was very destructive to the family. But once you learned why she was struggling so much, it gave you compassion that you didn't have for several decades for your mom. So I can appreciate that you feel guilty about it. When you said, I'm seeing my mom more and more in myself and it scares me, what did you mean by that? If you just name one or two characteristics you see in yourself.
I've isolated myself. When I get overwhelmed with anxiety, I just isolate myself. I just tune out the world. When I was younger, I had a lot of friends, and as I get older, I realize that I'm just, I'm dealing with a lot of emotions and of a lot of things, and I'm working through it. I really am. but I also know that I don't need distractions, and I just like to be by myself, and that's something she would do. So I kind of see that.
You know, it's weird how today, Angie, and I love that you're sharing your story, because there's a lot of people that have moms that hurt them deeply, and this particular program wouldn't have been authentic if you hadn't chosen to come forward today, Angie, because there's people that are listening to you right now that said the same thing. I don't want to go to my mom's funeral, even if she hasn't passed yet, or I never wanted to. Or, we're wrestling because of exactly what you talked about. And I was telling Brian, I said, if I would have been thinking quicker, I would have talked about moms as I opened the show. But this is what's really interesting, is I talked about lying. So let me take a thread from when we opened the show today about lying and tie it into Mother's Day, all right, and your particular story. Do you know what you found out about your mom, that she was abusing drugs and substances? That is one of the most sneakiest addictions, because somebody can be popping pills, and what happens in their brain is their brain begins to go offline, and they are more angry. They're more irritable. They're upset. They're more impulsive. And they do things that harm people. And, there's a phrase that's used in, addiction circles like alcohol or drugs, and they say addicts lie. They lie a lot. What you didn't know is your mom was lying to you about her coping mechanism, which was drugs. And you had no other way, my dear, to try to figure out what was going on in your mom's behavior other than just to see her behavior. But you didn't know that it was drug-induced behavior.
I kind of did, because I wasn't raised by her. I was raised by other family members. And when I went to go live with her at 13, she never had any children. So here I am, a 13-year-old child living with her. And she was very violent with me. And I had known that she did drugs and partied and drank. But once I went to live with her, I was not her daughter. I was her competition, because I was so young and pretty. So there was a lot of physical abuse, a lot of abandonment, and eventually she abandoned me at 15, and left me on the streets. And
wow, Angie,
I overcame so much, but in overcoming that, I tried so hard to be everything she wasn't. I tried to be an overachiever. I tried to win her affection. And even when I went to go visit her in the hospital, when I was contacted, I said to the doctor, listen, that's the same lady I've known my whole life. There's nothing wrong with her. And the doctor laughed at me. He says, listen, she has dementia, substance abuse. She has a lot of different issues. And it took me a whole year, because I kept thinking she's just a good actress.
Well,
it took me a while.
I know we're about ready to finish the show for today, but I want to say this. Do you know what you're still doing?
What's that?
You're trying to be an overachiever in her death.
I am.
Okay, sweet one. Let yourself off the hook. Please. Unhook yourself from the guilt. It's false guilt. You have been hurt and abused. And so the idea that you were upset about that or angry at her because she was abusing you, those are natural, normal responses. But the fact...
Even if I forgave her?
What? That you forgave her? Yeah, but let me tell you something. Do we could forgive people, but we can still have a lot of hurt and pain buried on the inside. I would love you to get...
Christ-like. I didn't think that was Christ-like.
Well, no, I would love you to get into some work. You can stay on the line. We'll hook you into one of our therapists and maybe do some EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing around the trauma that you experienced with your mom, so that you can get out from that guilt and let that pain out.
Yeah, we're about out of time. Is there a resource from the newlife.com store that we might be able to send to Charlie there in Tampa, Florida?
Take your life back.
Take your life back. That is an excellent choice. Charlie, we will put that in the mail to you, and we're also going to connect you with a counselor that can help you there in the Tampa area. And we're going to be in the studio taking calls for another hour. Phone lines are going to remain open at 1-800-229-3000. Laura and Kay will get to you in just a little bit, and everyone else. 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.